And welcome back. This afternoon, in our second segment, we are going to talk about something that we think is probably very timely and certainly very important. And I wanted to welcome Chess Bostick to our show today. And Chess, you're with Abba Claims Consultants, correct?
That's right, yes.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
So, you really, when we met a couple of days ago, you really shed a lot of light on something I didn't know about. Talk about what you do.
Well, we are public insurance adjusters, and we represent the policyholder, the property owner, against the insurance company. Well, not against, but we level the playing field, and we're on their side. So a lot of folks don't know how to manipulate or maneuver through an insurance claim, so we're there to help.
And so you are strictly on the consumer side.
That's right.
Okay, cool. So so I'm used to hearing about insurance adjusters.
Right.
You told us about three different types.
Right.
Well, tell us what those are.
Well, there's three different types of insurance adjusters. The insurance company has their staff adjusters, which work for the insurance company. And there's also independent adjusters that are kind of hired guns that work for independent firms. And they're called in when you have a catastrophe. Mm-hmm. When there's too many claims for the insurance companies to handle, they call those guys in. And then we also have public adjusters, and that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We represent the public on their side to work with the insurance company adjusters to get the claims settled properly.
Yeah, and I'll bet your phone's just ringing off the wall right now with everything that's been going on here.
Absolutely, we're busy.
Yeah, I would bet. How did you get into this business?
Well, way back, my wife and I were independent insurance adjusters working the hurricanes in Florida, and we kept running into a public adjuster. And I learned real quick back then that we need to pay claims, right? And I kept getting these estimates from this adjuster, my friend George, and they were incredible. I mean, they were very detailed, very thorough, and I thought that was pretty impressive. So we became friends, and to make a long story short, he encouraged us to get our public adjuster's license and help the public, and here we are.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, so what expertise do you bring? Talk about when like a homeowner is going through a claim process and how you work into that.
Well, I give the analogy a lot is that you wouldn't want me doing surgery on your foot, right?
Mm-hmm. No, probably not.
No, exactly. A lot of folks don't know how to work through an insurance claim. And so insurance companies have multi-million-dollar assets, and they have the ability to bring in engineers, and they can pay those guys all day long to go out and do their thing. Mm-hmm. And we actually have the ability to bring that same thing to the policyholder to help validate a claim, mm-hmm. Especially with these complex claims that we have locally with the recent tornadoes. There's going to be lots of structural engineers, lots of experts needed to validate these claims and get these claims paid properly so we can put the policyholder and the people back the way they were before. Because there's going to be a lot of hidden damage and stuff that's just not going to be taken care of on the initial visit.
And it makes so much sense to me now. I'm sure it's probably not the first time it's come across my head, but when we were talking the other day, I was thinking, well, gosh, if the roof gets ripped off of a house, how is the rest of it exactly the way it was before? I mean, it just can't be.
Well, it's not, and we had some rains right after the storm. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. You're going to have the fence, the windows, stucco. You're going to even have these tornadoes will shake these houses, and a lot of times it'll rack them. So those things need to be looked at, and that's one of the things that we're experts at is detecting that damage that the typical eye wouldn't see and the typical person wouldn't know to look for.
Mm-hmm. What's the so I guess is there a certain price, not price point, but I guess is there a certain value of claim that it makes sense for somebody like you to become involved in?
Right. We want to make sure it's feasible for the policyholder, and typically $50,000 up is what we look at, mm-hmm. To make sure that we can, we want to pay attention to it. We want to do them a really good job, and 50,000 is probably the barrier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that sounds like a lot of money, but if you've got a $500,000 home, it's probably with tornadoes like we had, it's probably pretty easy to hit that threshold.
Absolutely, it's real easy to hit that, and a lot of the homes, in the Preston Hollow area, and we've got a lot of high-end homes mm-hmm. In this area where the tornadoes hit, and it's not going to take long at all to hit that, and get into the millions.
Yeah. And you were telling us the other day that it really, it's really not the right place for a contractor to be working into the middle of that, quite the detail you do. They have some involvement, of course, because of what they do,
yes.
but
Yeah, we work together with contractors and we work well, and we love working with great contractors. What we were talking about is that, the laws have changed and all that, and public adjusters and attorneys are the ones that are licensed and can legally represent the policyholder. Now, contractors absolutely help, and they help get roof claims looked at, and they know how to identify damage. We work closely with those guys to write estimates to help validate the claim, and so it's important. And we always work, if you have a contractor on your home and you bring us in, we're going to work with that contractor because, they're the experts in construction. We're the experts in claims management, so
Yeah.
we work well together.
it doesn't seem like it would really matter much from your side who's ultimately going to be doing the work. You're really working just from the numbers and the terms of the policy and
That's right.
helping the homeowner. So
That's right.
That's great. So how do you get compensated in this?
Well, we don't get paid no deposits, no upfront money. We get paid when the claim gets paid. So it's contingency fee basis, just like an attorney
Yeah.
would get paid. And so we really perform. We take pride in performing and doing a really good, thorough job. And then once the claim gets paid, that's when we get paid.
It seems to me like, especially if you're talking about a $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 claim, it would be really easy to miss much more than what you would be, your portion of it's going to be for a homeowner.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We, like I said, we take pride in writing very detailed estimates. We're very thorough, and we've got the experts to bring in to validate everything we need to do. And that's our idea. And our goal is to get the claims paid properly. We don't ask for anything that's not owed, but we're going to ask for everything that is.
Well, and that, it again, this all makes so much more sense to me that there's people like you out there because, I've always had this thought that, the adjuster's not there to help me. The adjuster is there to, go through what they need to see from their side and pay a claim. And their paycheck's coming, while I'm sure they're reputable and honest guys,
Absolutely.
their paycheck's still coming from whomever the carrier
That's right.
is. So.
And a lot of folks out there say that, the insurance company's got their adjuster. You need to hire your own adjuster as well and have someone on your side. And we agree with that.
Is there a point that somebody should call during that process?
I believe that you should bring us in from the very beginning. It's just going to help the claims process go smoother, and we can end that claims process quicker. A lot of folks don't know that if we can meet that adjuster out there in the initial meeting and help them evaluate the claim just on the initial meeting, there's something called reserves, and we want to make sure the insurance company sets those reserves properly from the beginning, because it's they don't like turning loose of that money on the back end. It's easier to get things flowing right in the beginning. It just goes much smoother.
Okay. And if somebody's already started that process and now they're kind of watching what we're doing,
Right.
it's still good for them to call you and let you get involved at this point.
Absolutely. Bring
Okay.
us in, and we'll start wherever they're at, and we'll move it forward, and that's the goal, to get it paid correctly.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in today. This has been very educational for me, and I'm sure educational for a lot of the people that watch. And so, Ches, thank you so much for coming in. We do
Thank you for having
appreciate
us.
it.
Thank you.
And if you want to get in touch with Ches, his information's up on the screen, phone number, his email address, and their website. Certainly reach out to him, and they'd be happy to get involved with you right away.
That was a great second segment. That was
Yeah.
a lot of information. And again, I think the way that you opened it by saying how timely it is, and it's so important for people to be able to maximize what's going on with their claims and have information written in a format that the insurance companies are going to really take and pay fully on.
Yeah, it relates a lot to kind of what we do because, in our business, everybody in the real estate transaction needs to be represented at some point.
Absolutely.
Some people choose not to be, but I think everyone at least deserves should have the availability to do that. So
I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you very much for for joining us today. It was really great, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks so much. And remember, we want to be your realtors for life.